Gibson, and I'm the principal designer and founder of AKG Design Studio. At AKG, we believe that exceptional design isn't luxury, it's the foundation for better life. Here, we specialize in creating high-impact functional spaces that are uniquely tailored to our clients' success and well-being. And that is exactly what this show is all about. So join me here each week on Design Tips and Sips as I walk you through functional and style tips, project deep dives, and key design concepts we use every day here at the studio. Ready to elevate your space and your lifestyle? Grab your sips and let's get started. Hello, design enthusiasts, and thank you for joining me for another episode. And here we go. Hope you grabbed your sips and you are ready for some design tips. So today we're talking about all about home bars. So we are going to break it down to 3 themes as far as the bar goes. We're going to be talking about the space, we're talking about the cabinetry and backsplash, and we'll talk about appliances. So those 3 things are really going to round up to make like the best home bar that you can create for yourself. So cheers, let's get going. All right, so let's start with your space. Creating a home bar can be as easy as putting a small little card to the most elaborate and elegant space possible. It really depends on the space that you have in your home. So if you only have a very small apartment, maybe you're renting, putting a bar cart can be a very easy solution. There's really a lot of really beautiful bar carts that are available on the market. I also love shopping in the antique stores. There's beautiful mid-century modern and Art Deco bar carts that are floating around the market right now. And, just get one. I usually get one that has 2 layers to it. So then you can do more decorative things on the top and then put a lot of the bottles on the bottom. So, but just make sure you create a really round up design and selection. So maybe a couple of bottles, some glasses, and really anything else that you will need for the bar, like bar tools on the top, and then all the excess bottles on the bottom. Just try not to overfill it so it really looks completely jammed, and just make sure that there's a little bit room and you are actually creating design. You can also add a vase or a flower to elevate that space. So that would be really something that you can do anywhere, even if you have the smallest apartment in New York, if you're renting, and that's something that is easily to move with you. All right, next level up, you have a little bit more room, but you're not ready to commit. Maybe it's part of your dining room, maybe it's part of your kitchen. So again, great opportunity to pick up some beautiful credenza or some bar storage with more storage, maybe close-up storage on the bottom. Takes a little bit more space, and you can put it in your dining room, you can put it in the family room, but add some floating shelves on top of it. You can put all your bar materials that you need, so wine bottles and drinks on top of the credenza, and put wine glasses on top of the open shelving. You can even add those racks right under the floating shelves where you can hang the glasses. So really you can play with that and create a beautiful space, again, without a lot of commitment. You can probably even do it even if you're a rental or a place that you might not be there for too long, because again, you can remove everything pretty quickly and without any particular damage or lasting changes to the space. So those are 2 really great opportunities to create that bar. These are things that, like, if you are preparing for the holidays or for a big party, those are things that you just can get in there, created by yourself really easily, and move on and be prepared to whatever party or holiday gathering that you are hosting. The next level up will be the built-in bars in your home. So those are the long-term solution for your spaces that will require probably plumbing, electrical, and a little bit more design expertise to go in there. So even those, we have two options or two levels. So one of them is going to be your what we call a dry bar. So it's just going to be cabinetry with countertop, maybe some appliances, wine storage, but there's not going to be any sink in there. So it is still easy and something that you can probably DIY, but that's something that, but you're still probably going to need to run some electricity. So bring an electrician. So those are most common designs that we see and we do for our clients. It's a dry bar. We don't need to add a sink into it. You have a beautiful countertop, backsplash, and we'll talk about all these accoutrements in our next part of the segment. And the next level will be a wet bar. So a wet bar will be pretty much the same concept, but we actually have a sink in there as well. And then, of course, the mother of all bars is the bars that when you have like a big basement area or a big outdoor area where you can actually also not having just a display, what I call display bar, but you now have a sitting area as well where people can sit around the bar that feels more like a space that you can, you're the bartender, or maybe you invite a bartender to host your parties and they can stand behind the bar and everybody gather around the area. So that's definitely something that you need to have a larger space dedicated to it. So a lot of times we do that. It happens to be in a basement or some kind of an area in the house where you have that opportunity to use the space for that. So really think about what is the opportunities in your house, in your space, and you can go as little as the bar car all the way out to full on build bars, and we can help you design any of those spaces. So make sure to check with us and see how we can help you bring that bar to your home. Let's talk about storage and what is actually consists of the bar itself. So we talked about bar carts and we talked about credenzas and bar cabinetry that you can use all the way to bespoke custom build cabinetry. So this is where we come. We can create beautiful cabinetry for you. And it's really important, just like when we design your kitchen, is create cabinetry space that actually works for your space and not just throw cabinets willy-nilly, as you know. So everything that we put in the bar should have a purpose. So when you're thinking about how you're hosting, what you want to keep in your bar, it's really important to make sure that you match those cabinetry beyond the faces of the cabinetry, also what is actually you're going to be storing. So a lot of times I love to do at least one bank of drawers, probably 4 drawers, where you can have all the utensils, you can put your napkins, you can put your bar tools, anything that goes into actually serving the bar that doesn't necessarily need to be on the countertop. And then you probably need some bigger cabinets as well, where you can store plastic cups, glass cup, all the overflow stuff, and maybe even some boxes of soda that you want to keep aside. You know, we all shop in those big box stores and we buy a lot of it ahead of time, especially for a party. And a lot of time we don't always use all of it. So it's great to have those dry storage, not a pantry, because this is actually a bar, but it becomes like your pantry cabinet in the bar. Then, of course, you need to address the bottles and what kind of liquors that you like to use. So, of course, if you're a wine connoisseur, you want a lot of your wine actually laying down so the cord doesn't dry up. And from there, we're going to talk about appliances. But if you're just using just normal liquor cabinets, the liquor bottles, these can be standing. Again, pick a couple of bottles that can stand on the countertop, on the open floating shelf. to make sure that you have a beautiful display, but just don't overdo it. I love open shelving in bars. There's no reason to close a lot of things inside of in cabinet. We might want to maybe do one closed cabinet, and a lot of time we also do glass fronts for it, so you can display the beautiful dishes and the glasses. But really, we want to keep it, at the end of the day, we want to keep it light and airy and inviting, and not something that just looks like an extension of your kitchen, but something a little bit different and welcoming for your hosting. So make sure that you select few different elements of storage. Again, all the base cabinets probably should be more utilitarian for you, and then all the upper storage should be something that less utilitarian and more decorative, but again, something that is easy to access when you are hosting without overwhelming the space. Because again, a lot of time these bar areas do not really have a lot of space in them. So we just want to create something fun to enjoy, and everybody can see what you are trying to serve them. And again, if you have wine, we'll talk about that in just a minute when we get into the appliances, but you want to have some wine storage as well. So those usually to happen to be the big crosses where you can put several bottles of wine on top of each other, or the smaller, more traditional X's where you can, when you have each bottle of wine on its own. And again, if you are buying something ready-made, you can buy something like that that is a standing cabinet that you can put it next to your bar cart, or use that as your bar cart if you are a wine enthusiast. And of course, don't forget the temperature, but we're going to talk about that in just a minute when we're talking about the appliances. So, all right. So now let's talk about the appliances. This is super important. There's a lot of really great appliances out there, and they are there to enhance all your bar experience. So you can start with the most simple bar fridge. I love to do the dual zone. They usually call them now beverage fridge. So one side will be the wine, where you can lay down all your wine, and the other side is going to be all the shelving. So that's where you're going to put the canned soda and smaller bottles and stuff like that. So that is a great opportunity to multitask. So on one hand, if you're not really big into wine, but you like to have some cold beverages, some wine, you have one area, and then on the other side you have the beer and the smaller can and smaller bottles. So that is a really basic solution that I absolutely love, especially in smaller bars. Now, you can get really sophisticated with those different refrigeration options. If you have the space and you love, love, love wine, like some of our clients, you can use the towers that are pretty much the same size of a small fridge, and every manufacturer has different features in them. Some of our favorite are SKS and Miele, where you actually can display, if you have a really fancy bottle of Dom Perignon or something else, they have these beautiful wood inlays, and you can actually display the bottles in there. They also have a light in there. Some of them you can even knock on it and it turns the light on, so your guests can see the collection that you have in there. And that is usually, if you are very, very particular about your wine, those are going to be better storage because they have different zones, and those zones stays very differently. So you can really make sure that your wine are stored in the optimal temperature for your liking and the way they should be stored. Another great way that I love to use is the under cabinet drawer. So again, SKS and also Sub-Zero have really great drawers. And I love these drawers because you can use them as regular, whatever temperature you want, all the way from refrigerating to freezing. So if you are hosting, you can actually turn it into a freezer, and you can just put your cold drinks in there. So now they're nice and cold, and you don't have to put another bucket with ice to have all those cold drinks in there, or keep it just at freezing. You can keep it as wine temperature, or you can have it completely frozen. So if you do have frozen treats for your guests, or you want to have some extra ice for the party, you can actually have it right there at the bar area. So if your bar is somewhere close to where you're hosting, which is going to be outside and not near the kitchen, you can even store food in there. So this way it's easier for you to have everything that you really need in that space without needing to go all the way to the kitchen or somewhere else around the bar. So these are usually, the refrigeration is usually the main type of appliances that we use in the at the bar. Of course, you know, if you have the space, we recommend to add a small dishwasher. We usually just go with one dishwasher drawer, or with an 18-inch dishwasher. This way you don't have to drag all the dishes all the way to your kitchen. You have everything in there. But of course, this is where we're talking about a wet bar, where we have the sink and you have all the plumbing. So that's an easy add-on for you to have an addition into your bar area. So it really becomes its own space that you don't have to run all around the house to bring things from one side to another. Thinking about other appliances, I don't know, like, what are your thoughts? Like, what are some, of course, you know, we're talking about, you can add all the countertop appliances, like, you know, slushy maker and margarita makers, but I'm talking more about the appliances that are going to be built in that you want to incorporate into your bar. So just think again about how you're going, like everything else, like we always say, really think about your lifestyle, really think about how you are going to be using the space, who is going to be using your space. Are there kids that are involved in the space? Are there young adults that you might even need to get a refrigerator where you actually have a lock on there? And yes, they do have wine fridges that come with a lock. So if you think that's going to be a problem, you can lock it away. So really think about the lifestyle of how far is the bar is going to be from the main kitchen, meaning that you need to move dishes around the house. And based on that, really, we can create this beautiful bar for you to enjoy really all year round, and have fun with all your friends and family. Now let's talk about that pretty stuff. The bar area is really the place where your personality can shine. There's no reason for you to hold back. You know, there's few places at home. You know, a lot of times, maybe in your kitchen, in your bathroom, you want the space to be a little bit more cohesive and whatnot. And you think about other people that are using it, but there's two places in home that I always say, just go all out. One of them is your powder room, and the other one is your bar. It's really is the place where your personality can shine. So whatever is the theme that you love, so whether you like bold colors, whether you love prints, whether you love specific, I don't know, the Green Bay Packers, I don't know, like whoever it is, but this is the place for you to shine and have fun and really enjoy it. So really think about cabinetry that's going to show your personality. Go bold, enjoy fun, especially in smaller spaces. Enjoy in small spaces. Enjoy reflective backsplash or really crazy wallpaper, something that really going to be bold, fun, show your personality, and create a really great atmosphere and a theme around that area. So yes, if your house and you love mid-century or Art Deco or Art Nouveau, definitely keep it within the theme and, you know, don't stray too much from it. But if you are really into something very specific, that is a really fun place for you to display your Legos, your best basketball theme that you like. But, you're fishing, whatever it is, just, call us to make sure that it's done tastefully and doesn't look like your college bar where everybody just tossed every memorabilia that they found in the used store or in the boxes from your parents. So, everything can and should be done tastefully, but really this is the place for you to shine. So, make sure that you select decorative, antique or not, bar utensils and bottles that really enhance the space and go with your theme. But really, again, think about the cabinetry, think about the countertop. It doesn't need to be, of course, it needs to be durable because you're going to be using the space, but you don't have to think too much about spillage and acidity and things that are going to, because it's not your kitchen. Like, yes, you might be using the bar every day. You might be using your bar on a weekly basis, but it's not like your kitchen. You're not going to start making there, really big meals. So you can use materials that durable, but at the same time really fun to use. So again, my only advice about the bar is, as far as the decoration and selecting, is have fun. So this is it for our bar episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Anna Gibson with AKG Design Studio. And if you love the episode, make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell to make sure that you know when we drop all the new episodes. And of course, make sure you share it with the rest of the world. You don't want to keep us a secret. So if you want to be a guest on our show and you have something to share with our design enthusiasts, please email me at info@AKG Design Studio. If you want us to design a fabulous space for you, get in touch with me at Anna@AKG Design Studio. You can also check the previous episodes. Please check our website at www.akgdesignstudio. You will see some of the amazing projects and read our blogs on additional topics as well. And